Hi everybody, welcome to Fast Coasters. Hope you've been enjoying the content lately on the channel from all these parks, King's Dominion, Six Flags Great Adventure. And today we're going to be reviewing Dominator. Dominator is a B&M floorless coaster currently located at King's Dominion. Just to go over its history first, it opened in Geauga Lake, then known as Six Flags Ohio, in 2000. It has three sister coasters: Kraken at SeaWorld Orlando, Medusa at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, and Superman Krypton Coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. They all opened in the year 2000. But Dominator has what was the largest loop in the world when it did open at, I believe, 135 feet. And it is also the longest floorless coaster in the world still to this day at 4,210 feet. So it opened as Batman Night Flight at Geauga Lake in 2000. It was unveiled in 1999, the end of 1999, to the public. So it was part of a big expansion project to Geauga Lake. It also came in with Superman Escape, which is now known as Possessed at Dorney Park. Once that was built in, I believe, 2001, they renamed it to Six Flags Worlds of Adventure, where they combined with the SeaWorld Park. In 2004, Cedar Fair acquired them, and it was returned back to Geauga Lake, and the coaster was rebranded to Dominator. And then in August of 2007, the whole park closed down. And the park actually closed down in September, and then in August, that's when the rumors of Dominator moving somewhere else came, because they were planning to close down Geauga Lake. So Dominator did move to King's Dominion, where it stands now. Now, to go over some stats, it is 4,210 feet long. It is the longest floorless coaster in the world. It has a height of 157 feet and a drop of 148 feet. It is 65 miles per hour excuse me. It is 65 miles per hour in speed, and it has 5 inversions, which includes that 135 foot tall loop. Now, to go over the queue setup here, there's really not much to it. There's no real theme to this. It just has a big sign out the front. The queue setup, you just basically go right under this where the pre-lift is, and then you just go right up into the station. I'm not sure if the station building is from Geauga Lake, but I'm pretty sure the transfer building is from Geauga Lake. They look very similar to each other. But yeah, I did have the opportunity to help operate this coaster this year, so I can't really speak on the operations as I was the one operating it. But I'd say it was pretty good, unbiased. um, but yeah, Dominator doesn't really have a theme. It just has like its own area. It's a very Cedar Fair esque coaster. As far as the loose article policy goes, you're allowed to bring your stuff up into the station. There's no lockers. Just please put it in the bins to the other side of the train. Do not move the bins around. If a bin is open, please put it in the bin. Makes our lives easier. Um, the floorless setup is just like all the other major floorless coasters, about 8 rows with 4 in a row. Once you sit down in the seat, you do this small pre-lift section, which it banks a little bit to the left and then turns to the right. And you could tell by looking at the layout and the footers that this was a relocated coaster, because originally most of this was over a marsh. So you do this little left turn out and then bank to the right, and then you go up your lift hill. Once you get up to the top of the lift hill, which goes at a decent speed, you do your signature B&M pre-drop, and then you drop down to the right. And before I keep going on the coaster, I just want to mention how good the coaster looks. They just repainted it for this season, and it looks really fresh. And the loop is incredible how big that looks. You could definitely tell it's the largest out of all the B&M loops. So you do this drop to the right. There's nothing really too memorable about this drop. It's like most B&M floorless drops. If you've done like Medusa, you already know what this drop's going to be like. So you do this drop down to the right, and then you do this massive 135-foot loop. If the coaster's going really slow, you could get some good hang time on it, but that's not usually how it goes. There's usually a ton of people in the train. Speaking of the amount of people in the train, as far as wait times go, on opening week of the park this year, the biggest the wait got was maybe 45 minutes, but you'll probably be walking right up to it, because this coaster, it could run through a lot of people very quickly, especially if it's on 3 trains. So you do the giant loop, which is great, and then you do this big right-hand bank turn over the right next to the Cobra Roll. And this actually used to be where the old entrance was when it was Batman Night Flight. You used to walk underneath this turn and the Cobra Roll. This turn, I was expecting it to be a little bit more intense. It's not ultra intense, but it's definitely it's basically just to get you from point A to point B. And then you do this second overbank over the station. And this one's really cool to watch, but as an element, it's really forgettable because it doesn't really do much. Just goes over the station to turn you back around to the Cobra Roll. And then the Cobra Roll is just your regular Cobra Roll. If you've done like the Cobra Roll on rides like Medusa or even Kraken. You already know what this cover roll feels like. They're all the same except for Hydra's, which is a little weird. But there's a trim before the Cobra Roll. It never really turns on. So you go up into the Cobra Roll, and then out of the Cobra Roll, that'll be where your photo point is. So if you want to get the on-ride photo, that's where the camera is. Then you do this large kind of like ramp up and then left into the mid course. You don't really feel the length of it too much. It kind of goes through it pretty quickly. It's a nice break from the Cobra Roll that you just had with inversion and then two more inversions with the Cobra Roll. You do this left-hand turn up into the mid-course. The mid-course doesn't really trim too much. It trims a teeny bit, but you don't really feel it. It's not like Medusa where it nearly comes to a full stop now. You drop off this mid-course. In the back row, you get some good airtime off this drop, but not an incredible amount. Then you kind of do another ramp up into the first corkscrew because there's interlocking corkscrews on this, and you'll notice that this part of the ride is elevated. That's because this was mostly over a marsh because Geauga Lake, it was right on the side of the lake. So you do the first corkscrew, which is pretty good, and then you do another left hand over bank, and then into the next corkscrew. Like I said, once you do one floorless coaster, you kind of do them all as far as the big ones go. Like Medusa, if you've done Medusa and Kraken, you already know how these, especially Medusa, you already know how those interlocking corkscrews are going to feel. After the interlocking corkscrews, you do this left hand bank turn upwards over the first corkscrew, and then you kind of drop down, you continue turning left, and then you kind of snake back to the brake run. I like how this layout, they went a little bit different with this layout, um, with that first giant turn by the Cobra Roll, and then the big overbank, and then the ending with the snaking turns. I like how they did a more like twister turn based layout instead of just like loop, dive loop, in, 0G, just the usuals. I like how this one was a little bit unique in what they were thinking with this layout, and it caused it to be the longest floorless coaster in the world in length. It doesn't really feel like it, but it is a pretty big coaster. So as far as Dominator goes, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. It's definitely a solid floorless coaster. Again, they're all very similar once you hit the big ones. As far as my rankings go, I have been on 5 floorless coasters so far. So at number 5 would probably be Rougarou at Cedar Point. At number 4 would be Hydra at Dorney. At 3 would be Medusa at Great Adventure. Number 2 would be Kraken, and I do think this is my favorite floorless coaster that I've done so far. I don't know what's going to beat it because I don't think I'm going to get out to Six Flags Fiesta Texas anytime soon. So for the foreseeable future, this will probably be my favorite floorless coaster. The floorless coaster has always been near and dear to my heart. It was the model that got me into coasters, and it was the model that I first operated. And what do you know, when they sent us to King's Dominion, that was the coaster that gave me a floorless coaster, which I was pretty happy about. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Dominator? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you agree with me, and share your favorite moments of floorless coasters that you've had, personal moments you've had on floorless coasters down below if you'd like. And I will catch you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.